What's going on, everyone? So, the Golden State Warriors will monitor LeBron James as well as Jimmy Butler. Now, LeBron James obviously would be the better option, the option that makes the most sense. The basketball fan in me would love to see it. Now, the Laker fan in me would rather see it on the Lakers with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But nonetheless, removing my Laker bias, I would love to see LeBron James and Steph Curry play a team up and just see what they could do with that. Obviously, I think if they could have either, I think they would go with LeBron James. However, I don't see it happening. I do not believe that LeBron James will leave the Lakers. I don't think he wants to leave the Lakers. He's had multiple opportunities to leave the Lakers. If he wanted to leave the Lakers, he could have. Now, maybe in the offseason things change, right? If the Lakers, lay a dud this year and they aren't able to pull off the trades and stuff, maybe LeBron goes, you know what? Hey, I can get it worked out with my family. I mean, the guy's a billionaire. I don't see him, I will say this, if LeBron leaves, I don't see him going anywhere else but Golden State, right? Because one, he gets to play with Steph, which is what he's wanted to do. Two, he's close enough to home to where, as a billionaire, he could just fly and commute back and forth, right? Like, I don't think that there's any real concern in that regard. So I think things would be fine, but I don't buy it. Again, I think touch base on it in the offseason if that comes up. I think it's more of just LeBron putting pressure on the Lakers to try to get a trade done. And I also think that it's just because the Warriors inquired last season, we're now in the trade season again. I just think it's like, hey, here's an opportunity to talk about LeBron James being traded and stir the pot a little bit. Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, I think makes a ton of sense. And I think he makes more sense with the Warriors than probably anybody else, right? The teams that he's listed, Dallas, I don't even know how they get there. Houston could easily get there. I think Houston, it would be a detrimental mistake. We have seen so many teams make this fatal error where they're on the right path. Just stay the course, right? I understand you want to win. I understand you think you're closer than you are. You never are, right? Stay the course. Let things play out. If the right star becomes available, sure, make that move. But Jimmy Butler isn't that right star. It doesn't make sense with the team that they have, right? Like, every year you see a team like Houston. You had Sacramento, Atlanta made it to the conference finals. Indiana last year, right? Like, you had, Memphis. Right? Every year you see a team that just comes out of nowhere and surprises everybody. Guess what? Every year they're usually a first-round exit, or in the Eastern Conference scenario, they end up making it to the conference finals. But then the following year, you realize, like, oh, they're not really that good, right? Houston, on the other hand, I think is one of those teams that will continue to be that good because they are so young, they are so talented, they are deep. They're going to have to make some tough decisions down the road, which is a problem in and of itself that they're going to have to get right. But I just think you stay the course. If you make the right moves, perfect, right? I've talked about, like, the Phoenix Suns, right? I actually think that's another team that makes a lot of sense, just kind of swapping Jimmy Butler and Bradley Beal. Yeah, you'd have to probably get a third team involved, but it can get done if you want it, right? I think that trade makes sense for both sides. I think the Warriors make the most sense for Jimmy. I think Jimmy makes the most sense for the Warriors. Get that second guy alongside Steph. Nobody, and I mean nobody in the NBA, would want to play Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry in a 7-game series. Jimmy Butler's done more with less than probably any star in the league, right? And then now you're giving him Steph Curry and just the athletes and young guys that they have on that roster and that team. Good luck beating that team, right? Like, I'm not saying that they are winning, like, guaranteed to win a finals and that they're walking through everybody, but you're going to have to beat them. That would be tough. But also, Jimmy Butler just fits Steph Curry's timeline, right? The age factor with him and Draymond and stuff. Like, you only got probably 2-3 more years here to try to win a championship or two. Jimmy Butler, that's probably his timeline. So I think if you could pull the trade for Jimmy, he wants to go to the Warriors. That's one of the teams that was listed for the teams. I think you have the young players that could entice Miami, or if they want kind of a more ready now guy, maybe you take your package and go get another ready now guy, whatever, right? You figure it out, you work it out. I think Jimmy to the Warriors make the most sense. We saw Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins as their second best player, who basically was like an all-star level player that playoff run, win an NBA championship against the Boston Celtics, right? It's not crazy to think that Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler could do the same thing. especially with all the pieces and Steve Kerr as the coach and stuff like that. But he also he fits in. He gives the toughness. I think he'd add to the culture. I think, him and Draymond would be quite the interesting, backstory, right? Like he's one of those things that you really have to listen to. But nonetheless, right? Like I think that if any team was going to make a push for Jimmy Butler, it's the Golden State Warriors. I think the fact that they are monitoring Jimmy Butler, I think makes the most sense. I also think if Miami does end up trading Jimmy, the Warriors are probably the most likely team that ends up landing him. I just think across the board, it makes the most sense with talent, fit, utility. Warriors can still do that and still maintain the roster and flexibility you need. Got Milton's expiring contract, Andrew Wiggins, do Kuminga, throw in a first or whatever you need to do, 2 firsts, and then boom, there you go. Now you got him, you push chips in. Because look, I've talked about it with the Warriors before. Talked about it in the offseason, talked about it last season. The Warriors need to pick a direction. This whole, we're going to have 2 different timelines at the same time, it doesn't work. And it's not going to work. And you're not going to be the first team to figure it out and make it work. Right? So you need to make a decision. Either A, you trade Steph Curry and you hit the rebuild because you like Moody, Pod, Trace, right? Kuminga, all these guys. And you just hit the reset button. And just, Steph, we love you. You're Mr. Warrior. But, we want to give you the best opportunity to compete and contend and win a championship. Where do you want to go? Right? Is it the Lakers? Is it another team? Wherever you want to go, we'll work it out. We'll send you there. Do right by you. You look good. You look like the good guys, right? Hey, we came together. Yeah, we sent them to a team we didn't want, but, hey, we wanted to just reward Steph and thank Steph for all his hard work and whatnot, right? You can kind of get there, right? I just think that that's the best approach if you're the Warriors, if you're going to hit the reset button. The other side of that is you go and you make the moves necessary. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at least you tried. At least you did right by Steph. At least you can hang your cap on that and just go, you know what? Hey, we tried, buddy. I just think that the Warriors need to pick a direction. I didn't like the Lauri Markkanen move. I talked about that heavily. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up. He's not your secondary star. He's more of a third guy, but he's also going to make $40+ million. He's just not worth that money, right? And you're not going to have to trade all your assets. You're going to have to give up everything to go do that. No, right? They didn't want to give up Kuminga or do any of that stuff, which, again, I kind of understood. But now with Jimmy, it's like, okay, you have the clear-cut second guy. On most nights could even be your first guy. Like, he's also one of the most unselfish, stars. He doesn't care. He just wants to win, right? If, Pod is having a crazy night and he's going off, sure. Hey, tonight I'm going to do the dirty work. Tonight I'm going to rebound. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to defend. I'm going to sacrifice my body. I'm going to do the things that you need me to do, right? Hey, you need me to go get you 30? Give me the rock. Let's go, right? He doesn't care. He's one of the few stars that actually loves to do the dirty work. Plus, the Warriors have a bunch of guys that are willing to do the dirty work, right? I just think that they'd be a scrappy, tough, just hard-nosed team. You got the lights-out guy in Steph and Buddy Hield. You got Jimmy Buckets. You got Draymond Green. You got Trey. I would still like to go get a more sizable center, right? A legit center rather than all these 6'8" centers. But, if you can get a legit center, it doesn't even have to be somebody elite. Just get a guy that can rebound and defend, right? Or rebound and block shots, right? That's all you need. You're going to be fine out on the perimeter with Jimmy and Draymond and Gary Payton and all these guys. You would be in the perfect shape. I think if any team makes sense for Jimmy Butler and any team, or Jimmy Butler makes the most sense for any team, I think it is the Golden State Warriors. I think you make that move. I think both sides would be happy. I think both sides would work. I think they legitimately could win an NBA championship. Like I mentioned earlier, nobody would want to play Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in a 7-game series. You're out of your mind if you think that that's going to be an easy series. There are concerns, right? Obviously, Jimmy Butler won regular season. There's always questions of how serious does he take the regular season? I mean, he's even been caught up by Miami about it. But I think you're fine. You have enough talent. You have Steph. You have things he can kind of play that secondary role all regular season. 2, the injury issues, right? He hasn't been a model of health the last few seasons. Again, Miami's called him out on that, particularly in the playoffs. But it's just what else are you going to do if you're the Warriors? Warriors, right? Unless Giannis becomes available or something huge like that. Jimmy's probably your best bet. Again, if LeBron does, for whatever reason, end up wanting out, then yeah, he's probably your best bet. But I don't see it. I don't buy that. So I just think if you're the Warriors, go make the push. Go get Jimmy Butler. And I think if you're the Warriors, you want to do it sooner rather than later. So you can start like kind of working it out. The sooner you do it, the more camaraderie you get, the better. I just think it's a better position for them to be in. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle. Do you like Jimmy on the Warriors? Do you think no, he should go to another team? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it either way. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.